Let's bring in WCVB legal analyst Greg Henning to break down this verdict for us. So, Greg, let's start with Wisconsin's law on self-defense, which Erica just mentioned. It allows the use of force when someone, quote, reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself. It's pretty broad, but apparently the jury bought into the defense argument that this was self-defense, right?
They did. I think that's the only way to read the verdicts in this case. The jurors believed the defense argument, and in truth, they believed Kyle Rittenhouse, because in order to put that reasonable belief in front of the jury, they needed to put in evidence, and the evidence was the defendant. So by him getting up on the stand and crying, showing emotion, telling them how he felt, explaining his apparent fear, that was the key for the defense, because they were able to convince the jurors that there was a reasonable belief of imminent bodily harm.
All right, so as you mentioned, just about everybody now has seen Rittenhouse sobbing on that witness stand last week. How critical was that testimony to his case?
I think you have to consider his testimony to be huge, because it gives the jurors an opportunity to understand what the person charged with the crime was thinking about. That type of conduct, I think, is difficult for anybody to understand. But if the defendant can get up and say, this is why I did it, this is what I was thinking, this is what I felt, it can convince people. And ultimately, it seems it convinced the jurors unanimously that he reasonably believed that he was going to get killed.
So the prosecutors made a number of missteps here. At least I'm a layman here in this, not a legal analyst, but it appeared to me that they did, including that line of questioning that the judge expressly said was off limits. Did they lose this case, or did the defense win it?
I don't think this is a question about the improper use of a line of questioning. I think ultimately the verdict here came down to whether or not the jurors believed Kyle Rittenhouse. There's a lot of, what we would call living room lawyers or keyboard commentators that would say they should have done this, they should have done that. But very few people have actually had to go to a court and try to prove something beyond reasonable doubt. I think the real question here is whether or not the prosecutors overcharged in the first place. And there's a number of people that have questioned whether intentional homicide was a charge that should have been brought. Regardless, the self-defense claim here, I think, was made or essentially established when Kyle Rittenhouse got on the stand, and also when one of the victims testified that he pointed a gun close to the direction of the defendant. And so it's easy, I think, to question the prosecutors in this case. Certainly they made some mistakes, and there were a number of things that alarmed people when they watched the presentation of the case, but I don't think the prosecutors lost the case. I think that this was a self-defense case presented to the jury, and they believed it.
All right, Greg Henning, thanks for your time and your analysis as always. Good to see you.
You as well.